Good morning. Welcome back to the Homeschool Library, coming to you from right here in the Little Green Schoolhouse. As always, I'm Brad. Glad to have you aboard. It is a chilly morning here in the Little Green Schoolhouse. Got the heater on, got a fresh cup of coffee going. Fall is happening. Folks, it really is. This is the first morning that has truly been on the chilly side. We had frost last night. Probably going to expect another light frost tomorrow evening as well. Working on getting the remains of the garden all harvested. Got a big harvest of tomatoes and cucumbers in yesterday. The pumpkins are about to start coming in. So I think this morning, when the children arrive for the preschool here, I think we're going to be doing a little hands-on learning. When I say we, I mean, again, my wife out there with her preschoolers, going to be spending some time in the garden, learning about how the seasons change, fall, bringing in the harvest. So they always enjoy going out to the garden to pick themselves a snack in the afternoon. They're loving the cucumbers. So that should be fun for them. But here in the schoolhouse, we are adding to the history selection of our library. And I've got some books here that I need to show you that are some recent pickups. A couple that are familiar to me that I've actually read previously, but now are officially part of the library. And some new ones that I've never read before. So very excited about all of these. The first one here, in the smallest, this little paperback here. This is the Dover Thrift Edition of Marcus Aurelius's Meditation. Aurelius, one of the last good emperors of Rome, if you can consider any of the emperors of Rome to be good. I suppose that depends on who you're talking to. The Christians weren't really a big fan of Marcus Aurelius, but he was quite the philosopher, very much the author. And I've never read Aurelius extensively. I've read snippets, quotations and such from his meditations, but I've never read them complete. And this was, I think this was 50 cents when I picked this up, this Dover Thrift Edition of the Meditations. So I'm looking forward to checking that out. Next up here is one that I had read before. I actually owned this book, not in a very good copy. This is a better copy that I picked up recently just to kind of replace the old one. It's still got the dust jacket on it, a little bit nicked up in places, but it's still a pretty nice copy. This is Queen Emma and the Vikings by Harriet O'Brien. This is a book that I've been wanting to get a new copy of for quite a while. Finally found one at a decent price. Very well written, very engaging book about one of the women of merry old ancient England that doesn't get talked about quite a lot. She was one of the last kind of dowager rulers of Saxon England before William the Conqueror and the Normans came in and took over. She was the mother of both Harthacnut and Edward the Confessor. And this really does give a great overview of her life. And that, to me, is one of the most interesting periods of English history, British history, that kind of transition from the Saxon Viking rulers into the Norman conquest in 1066. Really, really easy, quick read, but a lot of good information in there. This one here is also one that I have read before. Actually, I remember getting as a gift, at one point many years ago, and I don't know whatever happened to the copy that I had. So I saw it again, and I picked it up, snagged it really quick because it's a very great book. Catherine Clay's King, Kaiser, and Czar. This is a book about, as the name implies, King George V of England, Kaiser Wilhelm II of Germany and Nicholas II, Tsar of Russia, who were all first cousins. Not something that your kind of public school history classes really delve much into. They were all the grandchildren of Queen Victoria. And the beginning of this book, it goes into their childhood. You know, these three rulers of these three great empires of the world, when they were children, they all went to Grandma Queen Victoria's house for Christmas. And their relationships with each other coming up into, of course, World War I, that very much changed the world and the lives of these three men, and of course ended the life of, if you don't know, read the book or check out some World War I history. Really a great book, very well written, a lot of fun. I'm excited again to reread this one as well. And the last one that I had read before, I was very much surprised to find this, and I had to grab it when I did. When I was going to college, I had it was a history of science course that I had taken, which I very much enjoyed. I'm not a science guy, but I'm very much a history guy. And a lot of that really resonated with me in that course. And one of the books that we had, actually several of the books that we had in that class, I very much enjoyed. A couple of them that I kept. One of them that I kind of wish that I had kept and didn't was this one here, Science in Medieval Islam. This is by, I can't remember, Howard R. Turner. It's definitely more of a history volume than a scientific volume. Very easy for me to understand. It tells you the developments of empire, and this was clearly also a college volume. It's got the highlighting already done in there, which I don't remember highlighting anything in this book or any book when I was going to school. I was never much of a highlighter. I am now, so I was kind of happy to find this already done. Of course, I may be going through when I read it the next time. Probably be going through with my own color of highlighter. Not really a hot pink kind of guy, and seeing what I can get out of this volume again. My feelings on Islam, of course, notwithstanding. It's a great book, great history of a very significant time, development of a culture, and their contributions for good or ill to the world. These last two are brand new to me, but I really was interested in checking them out. The Lewis and Clark expedition in the United States is very historically, geographically significant. As any course in American history should lead you to understand. But I don't honestly know that much about Lewis and Clark themselves as people. So when I found these two books, I was very excited to pick them both up. The first one here it looks like a series that I have never heard of before, and I definitely want to check out to see if there are any more. I don't know if you can see this, the National Geographic Adventure Classics. I'm got to find out if there's more of these. This one is the Journals of Lewis and Clark. So definitely a lot of firsthand accounts, primary resources in this. It's got selection of maps, drawings, and their actual journals as they investigated this part of the country. Really looking forward to digging into that. I'm sure there'll be some fantastic information coming through there. And then the second is by James E. Stars and Kira Gale. Kira, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. This is the death of Meriwether Lewis. That slip of the tongue there is one of the few things that I really did know about Meriwether Lewis as a person is that there is some controversy over his death. When he died in, I think it was 1809, it was initially presumed that he had committed suicide, taken his own life. That was the narrative supported by his good friend, President Thomas Jefferson, and many others. The witness accounts at the time were a little bit spotty on that, and an actual investigation on his remains wasn't done until some 40 years later, when the first marker was actually set up commemorating the significance of Meriwether Lewis. And at that time, the coroner, I guess, who was investigating his body, was inclined to suspect that he had in fact been murdered, which was also a narrative going on by some of his family at the time of his death. This is the second edition of this book, the New Evidence edition. This was published, I'm sorry, let me look here, in, looks like 2009. Although it does have some information here from 2010 and even 12. So I'm not entirely sure. It even on the blurb here on the back, which I had forgotten about, it also says Kira Gale will be publishing a new book in 2013 called The Assassination of Meriwether Lewis. Now, whether that is an entirely different book altogether, or if it's more of a third volume, third edition of this book, I don't know. I'll have to maybe track that down and find that out after I read this one. This does lean very heavily into the presumption that Lewis was assassinated, or at least murdered. That is the narrative that his family, still today, he doesn't have any direct descendants. Lewis had no children, but his siblings and their descendants and such, they all maintain that Lewis was murdered. And there have been requests to the United States government, the Department of the Interior, to exhume Lewis's body and conduct a new investigation on this. At one point, the federal government agreed to that and then later rescinded it for various excuses that, if you read the book, which I'm very excited to, kind of lend themselves to various degrees of credibility. So that should be very interesting. Who doesn't love a good murder mystery, especially when the lives of historical people are involved? So that's today's book haul. We've actually got a lot of books that have been coming in here recently. I'd like to do maybe 2 or 3 different videos of this, but I thought it'd be better to kind of break them down thematically by subject. Got the history books here, and we'll see what's coming up in the future. So please stay tuned. If you like this content, if you want to see more from the Little Green Schoolhouse here in the Homeschool Library, please like this video, subscribe, share it with your homeschool friends, with your library friends. Just share it, whether you're on whatever sort of social media that you like to. It would really help us out. We love what we're doing here. We hope that you're finding something of enjoyment as well. So again, stick around and we'll see you next time right back here at the Homeschool Library in the Little Green Schoolhouse. Bring a cup of coffee with you next time. It's getting chilly. See you next time. Bye.